Let's continue with the second part of the blue beads. Then there was a cloth stall stacked with great rolls of new cotton cloth, stamped at the edge with marker sign of a tiger's head, and smelling so wonderful of its dressing straight from the mills that Sibia could have stood by it all day. Now, after the sweetmeat stall, when she used to go to the cloth stall, she could stay there for the whole day. Why? Because when new cloths were brought from the mills, there used to be a mark of that maker's sign on that cloth, and the newly made cloth from the mill used to smell in another way that everybody knows. When we buy a new cloth, a new smell comes from there. So that smell was so wonderful that it attracted Sibia, and she could stay there for the whole day. But there were other wonders to see: satin sewn with real silver thread, tin trays from Birmingham, and a sari which had got chips of looking glass embroidered into the border. She joined the crowd round a Kashmiri travelling merchant on his way to the bungalows. He was showing dawn-coloured silks that poured like cream, and he'd got a little locked chest with turquoises and opals in it. Best of all, a box which, when you pressed it, a bell tinkled and a yellow woolen chicken jumped out. So there were other wonders also in the market apart from these two. Some satin sewn with real silver thread, a satin cloth which was sewn with the real silver threads, and that finishing of those silver threads used to be very wonderful. Then there were some trays which were made up of tin that came from Birmingham, that were also sold there in the market. And some saris were sold which had some glasses which were on the borders of those saris. They were like looking glass. The looking glass were made on the borders of the saris just like embroidery. She joined the crowd. She used to join the whole crowd and see everything, every wonder of that market. And then she used to follow that merchant who used to go to several bungalows in order to show his dawn-colored sarees. That means having some fine tinge of the morning sun. And he also used to carry two boxes with him. One was a locked chest, and whenever he used to open it, there were some turquoises and opals. These were the two gems which he used to carry with him. And also he had a box which when that box was pressed, then a tinkling sound used to come, and a woolen chicken used to come out of it. There was no end to the wonders of the world. It was so wonderful to look at such things that there was no end to see the wonders of the world in that bazaar. But Sibia, in all her life from birth to death, was marked for work. Since she was born in a poor family, so she was meant only to work throughout her life. Since she could toddle, she had husked corn and gathered sticks and put dung to dry, and cooked and weeded and carried and fetched water and cut grass for fodder. Since she could toddle means when she had not even learned how to, you can say, speak fluently or to walk fluently, she was given the work right from that age. What work she used to do? She used to husk the corn, she used to gather the sticks, put the cow dung on the walls to dry, then she used to cook also, then she used to weed the, you can say, rice grains and all. She used to fetch water from the well, and all such things was her responsibility right from her childhood. She was going with her mother and some other woman now to get paper grass from the cliffs above the river. Presently the scene was showing that now she was going with other ladies along with her mother at the top of the cliff to fetch paper grass. It was the work of these women. When you had enough of it, you could take it down by the bullock cart to the railhead and sell it to the agent who would arrange for its dispatch to the paper mills. So, what was the responsibility of the women? To cut the paper grass. If enough was collected, they used to carry it in the bullock cart down the hill, then to the railheads, and they used to sell it to a merchant who used to send this paper grass to the mill. The woman often toiled all day at this work, and the agent sat on silk cushions. So here the woman used to work so much hard, while the agent who used to buy the paper grass from them, he used to sit on the silk cushions and you can say smoking the hookah. Such thoughts did not trouble Sibya, however, as she skipped along with her sickle and homemade hay fork beside her mother. You could skip on the way out, but not on the way back, when you ached with tiredness and there was a great load to carry. But such type of thoughts, like who is getting profit, who is working hard, it did not bother Sibya because she was still a kid, a 12 years old child. So she used to skip with her mother, jumping and moving in fun. She used to carry a sickle and a homemade hay fork with her, and she used to go with her mother. Because it was, you could skip, you can move lightly and jump and do like that when you go on the cliff. But when you are returning from that cliff, the bag becomes heavy, carrying the paper grass, then it is difficult to move, even walk. It was difficult to walk. Some of the women were wearing necklaces made out of lal lal beads, the shiny scarlet seeds, black one end, that grew everywhere in the jungle. So the women, all of the women were wearing necklaces, but they were not the original necklaces. They were actually made up of lal lal beads, yani ki the red colored seeds of scarlet. They were shiny in nature. They were having black, one end was black of those seeds. So these type of scarlet seeds used to go everywhere in the jungle. So the women, they used to pick up those seeds and then make necklaces of it. So it was very easy for them to buy, instead of buying necklaces from the market, they used to pick up new seeds every year and make necklaces for themselves. And Sibya was making one too. Sibya also wanted to make one necklace of such type. How nice it was going to be to hear the rattling swish around her neck as she frowsed along with lots of necklaces. So what happened was, like she used to feel the feeling that if I make a necklace, and it would be like if I move here and there, how nice it would be, like hearing the sound of the seeds moving around my neck. But each seed, hard as a stone, had to be drilled with a red hot needle. Now these seeds were not delicate, they were very hard like stones. So to make a hole in it, a red hot needle was required to pierce it and make hole into it. And the family needle was snapped. So here her family needle was lost, and she must wait till they could buy another. So it was impossible for Sibya to make her necklace immediately. She had to wait till her mother or father buys the next one. Oh, for strings and strings of glass and beads, anklets, earrings, nose rings, bangles, all the gorgeous dazzle of the bazaar, all her little golden body decorated. So she could only imagine that if I could have necklaces, anklets, bangles, rings on my hands, nose rings, and all with a gorgeous dazzle of those seeds, then it would be very great. Chattering as they went, the women followed the dusty track towards the river. On their way, they passed a Gujar encampment of grass huts where these nomadic glaciers would live for a time until the animals had perhaps finished all the easy tasks with each other, or they were able to sell enough of the white butter and white milk in the district or there was no one to buy the young male buffaloes for a tiger bait. Now, when these women were talking to each other, they were passing through that river, and as they moved further, they passed through an encampment of butchers. Butchers were like vagabonds moving here and there. So these were nomadic gaziers. They could only live there till their animals had grazed the entire grass of that land. And after their animals had finished grazing, so in that time period, they used to even do something else. They used to sell enough of the white butter and the white milk which they used to extract from their buffaloes, from their cows, from their goats, etc. But no one was ready to buy the young buffaloes, the young male buffaloes for a tiger bait. Or perhaps a cattle killing tiger was making a nuisance of himself, then they'd move on. Now, if sometimes they found that they are not getting any profit and the animals are not getting enough grass, or the white milk or white butter is not being sold easily, so they used to move on, because whenever they used to find that a tiger was playing mischief on their cattle, then they had to move from that place and move to another place. Sibia glanced at the Gujar woman as she went past. They wore trousers tight and wrinkled at the ankles, and in their ears large silver rings made out of melted rupees, and one of them was swinging a stick against a big brass butas in which they fetched water from the river for the camp to see which ones were empty. So when Sibia was also passing by, she carefully looked at the Gujar woman, what they were wearing. They were wearing tight pants which were wrinkled at the ankles, which we nowadays say chudidar, right? And in their ears there were large silver coins which had been melted. It seemed as if they had taken a 1 rupee or a 2 rupee coin, they had melted it in between and then made it as their earrings. And one of them was with a stick seeing that which of the gharas was empty. Gharas means that pitcher. Pitcher means matka. Which of them was empty, so that she could go and fetch water for it. The men and boys were out of the camp just now with the herd or gone to the bazaar to sell produce. But 1 or 2 buffaloes were standing out. Creatures of great red noses and moving jaws and gaunt black bones. At this time of the day, the men and the children were out. The boys were out of the camp. Either they went to the bazaar to sell their white butter and white milk, or they would have gone to the grazing grounds. But here, at least 1 or 2 buffaloes were standing there only in the Gujar encampment. They were having some, you can say, wet nose, as if they were having coryza and all. And they looked very thin. Gaunt bones means very thin bones. The Gujars were jungli, as Sibia was too born and bred in the forest. So Gujars were jungli. That means moving here and there only in the jungle. Sibia was also that kind of girl. For countless centuries, their forebears had lived like this, getting their living from animals, from grass and trees, as they scratched their food together and stored their substance in large herds and silver jewelry. They were man in the wandering pastoral age or not stone age hunters and not air cultivators. So here they are saying that such type of people who live in the jungle, they earn their living only by grass or by grazing animals, or getting their living from the animal products like milk, butter and all. And all of these people, they used to scratch the food together, combine it, collect it, and then have it together at night. And they stored the substances in large herds and in silver jewelry. Actually, they were the men of the pastoral age who used to wander from one place to another, and not of a stone age. Now there was river twinkling up between the trees, sunlit beyond dark trees. They could hear it rushing along. Uh, So here when they were passing through, they saw a river which was twinkling in the sunlight, and they could hear the rushing of the waves of the river. The woman came out on the shore and made for the stepping stones. Now the woman, they came on the shore and they placed their steps on the stepping stones. They had plenty to laugh and bicker about as they approached the river in a noisy crowd. They girded up their skirts so as to jump from one stone to another, and they clanged their sickles and forks together over their shoulders. To have ease of movement, they shouted the quarrels above the gush of the river. Now these women, as you know, are they have various topics on to talk about. So they used to talk a lot. They had so many topics to talk a lot on. So they approached the river in a noisy crowd. They jumped from one stone to another by picking up their skirts. They even clanged their sickles and forks together over their shoulders for the ease of movement. And they used to shout when they were quarreling among themselves. Actually, the crocodiles are afraid of a large, huge noise. So noise frightens crocodiles. The big mugger did not move, and all the women crossed in safety to the other bank. So the big mugger, this crocodile, could not move because he was afraid of the noise. So the women, they crossed safely that river. Here they had to climb a still hillside to get at the grass, but all fell to with a will and sliced away at it wherever there was foothold to be had. Now all these women had to climb the hillside to get the paper grass, so all of them decided to spread in several parts and go to different locations wherever they could find the foothold, and then move to the hill. Down below them ran the Brand River, pouring powerfully out from its deep narrow pools among the cold cliffs and shallows, spreading into warm shallows lit by kingfishers. Great turtles lived there, and mahseed weighing more than 100 pounds. Crocodiles too. Sometimes you could see them lying out on those slabs of clay over there, but there were none to be seen at the moment. Now whenever you used to climb to the hill, you could see from there the river, and in this river many things could be seen. Kingfishers could be seen, crocodiles could be seen, and the mahseed, it was a heavyweight animal which was weighing more than a pound, 100 pounds. Crocodiles could be seen, great turtles could be seen in that river from that hill, but today none of them was being seen. Where Sibya was working, wind coming across hundreds of miles of trees cooled her sweating body. Now Sibya was working on one part of the hill, and a cool wind blew and her sweat was disappeared. And she could look down over the river as if she were a bird. And when she looked down into the river, it seemed as if she was a bird and she wanted to fly. Although she did not dare stop for a moment under her mother's eye, her imagination took her in swooping flight over the bright water and golden air to the banks where she had played as a child. Now here, Sibya did not dare to move because she was afraid of her mother, who used to keep an eye over her that you have to keep on working. So her imagination only took place, and it seemed as if it was taking a huge flight over the bright water and the golden, you can say, sandbanks. Because when she was a child, then she used to play over those banks. This in this story again we have completed 3 pages. We'll meet in the next session. Thank you.